trading what's important for shiny things. I can't allow this blasphemy. It's blasphemy. Why would you treat yourself like that? We didn't come this far just to fall right back. I'm from. Don't lose yourself, stay on track. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. Believe that. Full of the things that we've overcome. Full of unspoken battles we've won.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Hey, what's up, and welcome to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. I'm your host, Nate Couser. And today we're going to continue our conversation on self-care and gratitude. We're going to talk about 4 steps to wellness. And then I have a chart here that kind of, it's a burnout warning meter. So depending on what area you're in, and it's a green, a yellow, and a red zone, and it tells you what area you should be in the green zone. If you find yourself in the red zone, that's like danger, danger, danger. And the yellow zone is kind of the buffer and the warning zone. So we're going to go over some of those. And then we're going to go over some self-care questionnaire. And it basically tells you some things that you do, whether it be frequently, occasionally, rarely, never, or it never occurred to me. And it's physical self-care, psychological self-care, emotional self-care, academic self-care, spiritual self-care. We're going to go through each one of them and see which one do we practice the most. And then I have a couple announcements. One being, what is this? Right here. Facebook is getting different on you. So I'm here today, and like I said, November is kind of my way of doing some self-care, because normally the winter months, the holiday season is coming up, it's getting cold outside, and we have a tendency to want to hibernate, and this is normally the time where we start thinking about loved ones that have passed, and depression normally sets in, and anything that you didn't get done over the year kind of sneaks up on you, and then that urge to kind of get things done, or wallow in that despair of not being able to do certain things, it hits you in a different way. And I a few years, well, actually a really long time ago, I went through some seasonal depressions, and it was every August and every January I would go through this month-long, and it felt like a purging session, and it didn't feel like being in the moment, it didn't feel like anything was particularly wrong, but I wouldn't want to go outside. I wouldn't really want to be around a lot of people. I didn't really talk to a lot of people. And I started this obsession with the internet, and it would just be what I did all the time. And unfortunately, it was around the time that I was in college. So every August before the fall semester and every January before the spring semester would start, I would go through this what felt like deep depression, but it wasn't necessarily heavy on me. It just that's how it would feel. And it would start with me not feeling well. And that would carry on to me just not wanting to go out of the house. And somehow I would pull it together when it came time for us to register for classes. Before I went to COP, and before we would go paperless, you said to go stand in line, and you had to register for each one of your classes, and you had to go to financial aid. It was it was a lot. So I would get this depression, and I would I felt like I was making myself sick. Now looking in hindsight, I felt like I was making myself sick. And I wouldn't want to go outside. And that happened literally every January and February for maybe like the first 3 years of college. And I eventually broke myself out of it because I would force myself to do something within like work or creativity. And it really affected my work life because I would quit jobs in December. So we would go away for Christmas break or for Christmas vacation. I would take my vacation in December, or the end of the summer I would take a vacation and I wouldn't go back to that job. And I kept doing that throughout college, and it was really hard on me. Financially, I was pretty good because I always saved back then, and I wasn't really stressed for money, but it eventually affected me financially because if you keep quitting jobs and you're not starting off the year well, you're not, going into a semester well, looking for a job. So it was a lot of these things were things that helped me and things that I've discovered and doing some research over the last couple of years. But I've definitely want to, hey, Mr. Morris, hey, Will, you got to come on sometimes. I got to get you on the show. So I really wanted to just talk about that, and I decided to dedicate this month to it. Now, it won't always be a conversation that's heavy on self-care, but when it's just you and I wanted to kind of break down some things and kind of get through just where I am with just myself. So I'm going to go back to actually Facebook, and I posted a post, and some disclaimer, it's nothing particularly wrong. I just felt something and I said it, and normally it's me reflecting on something, and that's how I felt in the past. That's how I felt, random times in my life and things like that. So I made a post yesterday, and it said, "Oh, come on now, phone. This internet thing is crazy." So let's go on. So I made a post yesterday, and it really it spoke about how I often felt as a young black male, and people sometimes, I had to like erase it and put it back up and delete some people comments because people make stuff about them, and people love to hear when somebody's not doing well. I don't know what's going on with this internet right now. It's really stupid. But I'll go back to it in the next segment. I'll pull it up. But I really wanted to just express some reflections I was having. It had nothing to do with necessarily where I was in that moment, because I'm really fine, and I don't think some people understand it, nor do they get it or probably care to get it. But I really am fine, and I really am at a space where I am enjoying the life that I have, and that's kind of how I ended the message, the post that I put up yesterday. And it really just, for me, I needed to be in a space of just being comfortable with just expressing feelings and emotion. And I, as a black male, that's something that we're taught not, of course, it's something that we're taught that we can't do. And it's not okay, because I teach young men, and one of the things that's going on that I see as a pattern in various young men, not just one or two, but in most of the young men, we don't know how to express ourselves, and we are taught at a really young age to stop it and cut that out. And grow up and be more mature, and you're not given a chance to develop full ranges of emotions. And I teach theater to young people, and one of the things that I try to give to a lot of my students is the ability to express ourselves, the ability to show different emotions. And there's one activity that I do with my class where I ask them to show me a specific emotion and let it be seen on their face. And most of them get confused when you say certain words, and it's because they don't know certain words, but certain emotions, everything is either happy or angry, and that's normally where they live. And even with their happy range of emotion, it's normally not so expressive. It's normally just a smile or just something really surface level with the young men, where the young ladies are allowed to be more expressive and more, I would say more expressive and more over the top with their feelings in a whole range of emotions when it deals with feeling something. And I'm noticing that more with the young people that I am starting to work with now, and it's just strange. And I really want to figure out something to do, which is why I'm doing a lot more research in self-care and triggers and depression and trauma. I'm looking. So if you have any information that you can send to me, you can send it to the Artist Exchange Radio Show at gmail.com. I just was told about a program that is in Laurel that is more dedicated to drama therapy. And it's something that I'm definitely going to look into in terms of researching it and finding out, whether I can take the course or if it's a course that is accessible, because that's something that's always been in the back of my mind. How can I use theater to help people with trauma? And it's something that I really have looked into a lot lately, because it's definitely it's something that I want to think about. And it's something that I want to pursue in terms of me being an artist. I don't want to just get on the stage and learn lines, which are fine, but I definitely want to use my platform and my gifts and my talents to be able to help people move through life easier. Being in depression is one thing, and I'm going to say this, and it's something that I learned. Depression is normal. It's our body's way of getting rid of anything that has piled up in us, anything that we've held on to. It's our body's way of kind of self-cleaning. Our body has a self-cleaning mechanism in it, and we naturally want to get rid of anything that is not of us and not supposed to be in us. And feelings of depression or sadness is definitely something that our body naturally will reject, but over time our body holds on to it, just like fat. Our body holds on to fat if we're not doing anything to get rid of it, and it becomes something that just holds on, and then we gain weight. But the same thing happens with our emotions, and it's something that I've learned over time. Hey, E-Digger, but I really want to learn ways to help specifically young black men, or just men in general, to get out of. There's a meeting that happens at the Living Well Center a few times a month. I think it's twice a month or once a month. And I'm going to go it's a circle for guys, and I'm definitely going to go check that out and just see different places in our community that helps that. So look forward to some invites to some things that are coming up. So I think we have a couple more minutes in this segment, so I want to, is it allowing me to oh, there you go. So I'm just trying to invite a few people to come on and listen to this podcast. We've only done an hour today. The next show up is the Cocktail Social, and I believe It Is What It Is radio show is coming up right after. So I'm going to inside acting. So I'm just adding a couple people to it. And we're actually about to go to a commercial break. So we're going to be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Take a minute and listen to this flashback of the Black by Demand radio show.
Control. They said she wouldn't so they didn't know if she had a weapon. So it's just a mess. So yeah, you do have to have these discussions with your children.
You do, and you have to make them aware of that there is an enemy out there. Every time the police pull you over, or every time you have an interaction with the police as a black person, you are at risk of being in front of your enemy. Hopefully, it's not a police officer that wants to demonstrate that he's your enemy, but we all see it's a high probability of that being the case. So if we're not talking to our children do not have the coping mechanisms to deal with these type of intense situations. What they're going to do is what most of us do as black people, me and anyone else, which is become emotional. And that is the trigger point for the police. They know that black people are emotional people. So when they arrive on the scene, they are purposely trying to say and do things to you to get your emotions up, right? And then once they get your emotions up, then it's like, oh, that's what we needed. Now we're gonna kick your ass. You know what I'm saying? Gotcha. You know, so I'm saying we need to have these discussions with our children, you know, and make them understand in this day and age, and it's every day and age really, but we'll just say this day and age for the sake of it being so prevalent on social media, like you have to understand what you're getting yourself into. And I think a lot of us as black people are just scared to still tell our children that there are a group of people out here that are your enemies.
Join us every Monday at 12 noon for Black by Demand radio show, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
This is a Poverty ENT exclusive. Next stop, Texaco, strapped up, you already know. Fuck niggas hate, that's how it goes. Bros with me, yeah, it's time to go.
Nigga, chose by another nigga, bitch. Damn, this chopper got 50 round clip. So this Molly and the syrup got me geeking, shorty. Ain't know I popped them Xannies, had them sleeping on me. Love in a hood full of hate. Pray to God that he open up them gates. Rest in peace to Freddie Gray and Lil Scooter. Putting on for our city, watch his door.
Next stop, Texaco, strapped up.
The Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Saturday 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live on BeExposedRadio.com. I was meeting with a friend yesterday, and I've gotten to the point where don't ask me a question because the truth is going to come out. And
exactly.
Just don't do it.
If you ain't looking for the truth, don't come to me.
Don't do it because I can't hold my tongue. And she wants to be this stylist, boutique, but you're not doing anything in that nature, and I can't take you seriously if you're not doing those things. And I understood why people didn't take me seriously because I found myself in somebody else's lane. I was good at what I was doing and what I wanted to be, but I wasn't doing it for me. So how can I ask you to take me seriously if I'm living in somebody else's shoes?
And nobody can do what you do, and I think that that's a big problem that people face now. Like, you see what somebody else is doing and you want to do that when that's not your lane.
That's not your lane.
That's not what you're supposed to be doing.
But it's popular, it's getting that person money, it's getting that person applause. Oh, I want applause. I want money. Let me stand over here behind them.
And then a lot of times people aren't honest with themselves either. Like, I was thinking earlier today, I've been woke for almost 2 days, so so you get honesty, and I was thinking, like, you know,
the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
Long live Pop. Y'all can go ahead and cry now. I'ma show these niggas what to do with one of your beats, man. I am Gas, by the way.
Strong woman story should've been on CNN. Nobody knows what it's like being Gwen. Windows closed in the house, it ain't no CNN.
Can't gain weight for years, she been being thin. Single mother, no help from the system. When they was giving out food stamps, she missed them. Birth certificate, baby daddy, she couldn't list them. But her son was so beautiful when she kissed him. Blame it on love, but nigga she could've died with. Destroyed the whole world and found out she was a side chick. The nigga loved his wife and it got hard to hide it. So when Gwen confronted him, he ain't even denied it. Her fault, depends on who you asking. She tried to be a stripper, but the tip out was taxing. Buying all the purses, trying to keep up with the fashion. And her mama hated babysitting with a passion. She deserved better, better circumstances. A black queen, she should've been blessed with certain chances. Look down upon, getting all the hurting glances. Making men change up all the twerking stances. She never cried about the pain, only gritted her teeth. But most soldiers never get a flower or a wreath. She like G.I. Jane in the war with no relief. Don't recognize why killers was going through her beat. She said more prayers than the nun did. After seeing so much struggles with only one kid, the clinic said baby number 2 couldn't be undid. 9 months later, delivery and it's one big. But this time it was an older dude. But the shit happened so fast, she barely know the dude. Damn, but we all make mistakes though. And the older we get, that's how mistakes go. So he claimed the baby, now with no money. He said shit was hard and his dollars was kinda funny. Real was feeling like that was strike 2. So when it rains and pours, that's just how life do. She was thinking about her childhood and how life flew. Her daddy she always loved, but she never quite knew. This was before the bags and the cellulite grew. Other bitches in her shoe, no telling what they might do. You lose a lot of friends, they start to despite you. Passing judgment when they don't got the right to. And even though I love the gangsters, the same for the gangsters. I remember you no matter how big the fame gets. Paint a perfect picture, baby you can frame this. As long as I'm slapping, you will never be nameless. While I was robbing, you did things that was shameless. Both products of our environment, we was blameless. They deserve better, those women who raised men. Who went out of town with us in that day's end. The ones we leave on the streets when them days end.
Like the one thing you always gotta remember is people gonna try to project their insecurities onto you. But you can't listen to what them niggas saying. You gotta get out here and do your shit regardless. You gonna do what you love for the rest of
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
There's a rumor going around that Tyler Perry and Oprah are beefing. Well, let me tell you about this. There's a rumor going around that Tyler Perry and Oprah are beefing.
So as I was saying, I posted a welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio show. I am your host, Nate Couser. Thank you all for tuning in. Please take a moment, share it out, add any of your artist friends, any of your entrepreneur friends, any of your activist friends. This is the Artist Exchange Radio Show, a platform for artists, entrepreneurs, community leaders, and anybody with a story to come on and share who you are with this awesome audience. And this month, we're focusing on self-care as it pertains to the things that we need to do, or the things that we already are doing, or things that we could be doing to help ourselves to stay active, stay energized, and avoid depression, avoid the pitfalls of just emotions. Today, I wanted to talk about some self-care things that we may do that we don't think about being self-care, some things that we sometimes overlook that are actually self-care items. And for every person, this may vary or things may be different. So we're going to bring that up in the next segment. We also have a chart, a burnout warning meter that kind of lets us know whether we're in the green zone, the red zone, and the yellow zone. And we'll go over some of the warning signs for that and 4 steps to wellness. But this is a project that I'm doing, one that I'm sharing on this radio show platform that I have, and things that I'm doing to support myself as I want to share with you, as we all can be helping ourselves. So I posted, being a adult black man is often hard. You have to often eat feelings that are at the forefront of your mind while appearing unbothered. If it often requires us to smile when our heart is breaking and stay quiet when our emotions are screaming at the top of their lungs. We often have to sacrifice our voice for peace. 36 years of this left me tired and fed up. I have been on a personal journey to get back to me, and I am thankful for renewed energy, peace of mind, and creativity that always allows me to choose joy no matter the storm. I am thankful for the random acts of love and kindness that I have received when my world seems to be falling down around me. I am in love with no. When it is a need to be still. Fill your cup and choose joy and be the blessing that you have been given. Find moments to love you just because. And I posted this, I was just reflecting over the last week, and I recently started to do this, and I am going to get back into journaling a lot of my emotions again. And not just my emotions, just my day. It's a lot of things are happening that are interesting to me now that I'm with a different age group of children. And I'm just noticing things at such a young age, and it's forcing me to reflect back. Because one of the odd and peculiar things about myself is my memory starts way back when I was really young, and I can remember being potty trained, and I was potty trained really young, and I just remember the process of being potty trained, which is really annoying, and just I'm a impatient person, and having to sit still for such a long time annoyed me as a kid. So my memory starts at that moment, and it has brought me to this point. And most people are weirded out by that, but I've always been able to see things and remember things vividly, and I see it. And because I've been doing so many of these reflective moments, I've been having so many of these reflective moments, it forced me to want to share it. And I've attempted to share certain things, and something would stop me, whether it be something somebody said or the idea of something that I am doing that is affecting somebody else. I'm brought to a story that I had that I was watching the last couple of days on YouTube, and various interviews with Robin, the best friend of Whitney Houston, and in her explaining herself and telling her story, we often are stopped, or we often hesitate in sharing our story, our personal selves with the world, for fear that it will hurt somebody else. And I recall Robin saying, thank you, I recall Robin saying several times, I have to tell my story because everybody else has included me in theirs, and I need a 360, a full account of what has happened. And I just felt like I needed to tell my personal story. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Start thinking about ways that we help ourselves with our own self-care. What are some of the things that you do to support your own self-care? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
There's a rumor going around that Tyler Perry and Oprah are beefing. Well, let me tell you about this. Tyler, okay, told Oprah, bitch, if you don't have my money, we're going to have a problem. Ooh. Oprah said, what is the problem? Ooh. You said if I don't have your money, there was going to be a problem. So Oprah is standing her ground like, bitch, I'm in charge.
Yeah,
You know, you may have a $250 million studio over there that you film all your shows and movies and stuff on, but I have the empire. That's what Oprah said.
Oh, these are her exact words. Allegedly.
I made this up. But
Allegedly.
I made it all up. But there was a rumor that they were beefing. But Tyler confirmed that they don't have any issues. So it says it was recently reported on the rumors that was swirling that the twosome were on the outs over constructive criticism of Perry's show. Well, I got some constructive criticism, and we can be on the outs, Tyler, and I don't give a damn, because I'm going to make a promo out of this anyway and share it to your page. I need the scenes on Have and Have Nots to be like 5% shorter, each one. I want you to watch an episode of The Young and the Restless, because this is supposed to be a soap opera. No one's dialogue on The Young and the Restless is like this. You don't have to talk about the random plant in the corner for 25 minutes on one damn scene.
They talk about random plants.
It was a blood stain on the floor.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Artist Exchange Live.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Starts now. Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. I'm your host, Nate. This month is dedicated to self-care. As a teacher, as an artist, as an entrepreneur, as just a black man in America, I'm learning the value of self-care and how to take care of myself. And as we get older, we don't bounce back as fast. You know, in my 20s and my teens, I could rip and run and not get any sleep. And now if I stay up past midnight, trust and believe, I'm probably not going to get up on time for work. So I need to, practice some things. So one quick shout out to my awesome cast of Pearly, directed by Troy Burton. I want to say thank you to Troy for bringing this back to Arena Players, and we'll be performing Pearly in its 50th anniversary of Pearly. And if you didn't know, it was written by Ozzie Davis, and the musical was adapted by Philip Rose and Peter Odell, and music by Peter Odell, and lyrics by Gary Guild, based on the play Pearly Victorious, which I actually just started watching today, and it was a black and white movie, and it was awesome. But this play opens up on February the 14th, and it closes on March the 1st, 8 p.m. Friday, 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. Saturday. So there are going to be 2 performances on Saturday and 1 performance on Sunday at 4 p.m. Tickets are $30. You can go to the www.arenaplayersinc.com for tickets. I'll be playing Get Low. Please come on out and join us. I really appreciate seeing your faces in the audience. And all that jazz. So back to what we're talking about. Self-care. Some 4 steps to wellness. Become aware. Number 1. Know your stresses and your triggers. Enhance your level of self-care. Meaning, if you're already on a regimen or you already have a routine, assess what's going on, assess what's working, what's not working, and kind of boost it up a little bit, and do, really put yourself on a strong, rigid regimen that helps you to stay balanced and helps you to stay on track. Number 3, develop a resilience and a social emotional skill set. You have to have those 2 balanced and in check, and become aware of where they are as it pertains to your self-care. And number 4, make a commitment to change today, this week, this month, this year. If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So self-care isn't something that you can just, starting Monday morning, I'm going to do this. And it works, but normally after the end of that week or by the end of that week, you're already cheating, you're already being a little lazy. We know that to be true in our New Year's resolutions every January. They have all these specials for gyms, and then by the end of January, we don't even know where our gym is because we ain't been there. But I wanted to get into this self-care questionnaire, and it's broken down into a couple parts: physical self-care, psychological self-care, emotional self-care, spiritual self-care, and academic self-care. And then there's a section for balance. In the physical, and so in this questionnaire, 5 equates to you frequently do these things, 4 is occasionally, 3 is rarely, 2 is never, and 1 is it never occurred to me. So these are things that you do or you can do to help with your self-care. And each section has a number of things in it that equates to that specific area. So for physical self-care, they first put eat regularly, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. How often, or what is your eating schedule? And not realizing that's one of the first things that we kind of get laxed in. Most of it, like for me, I don't eat breakfast. So, and me working with a nutritionist for the last year, well, I'll say the last 10 months, a year and a half ago, I gained about 80 pounds over the course of the year, and it kind of snuck up on me, and I didn't realize it until I was trying to put some jeans on. From the summertime, I was trying to put some jeans on, and they just wasn't coming up on me. And I went to go see a nutritionist. My doctor prescribed one to me, and the first thing she asked me was to keep a journal. And when I went back to her after my 2 weeks of keeping this journal, the first thing that she said to me is how many times I skipped my meals. And then look at the meals where they were larger. Like normally for breakfast, I may drink water when I'm gonna be honest, I may drink water when I get up in the morning. And then I don't really eat breakfast. Rarely do I eat breakfast unless I'm on vacation. That's the only time that I can ever say I eat breakfast. But then for lunch, I may grab a bite to eat, but because I'm with students, sometimes, your lunch break is cut short. So I really don't think about eating. I've gotten into the habit of bringing lunch with me now, and I normally eat dinner really late, because I normally leave the station or a gig or rehearsal really late, and I eat afterwards. So she looked at this and she asked me, was this normal? And I said, well, this is what happens on a day-to-day basis for me. And she could see where the problem was and how it was really starting to affect me. So eating on a regular basis, and that could, whatever that means for you, because some people work overnight and their nighttime is our morning time, vice versa. So eating regularly is really beneficial. So decide, do you do that frequently, occasionally, rarely, or never? Or did it ever occur to you that was important? And that was one of the things that I got a 1 in. Eating healthy, of course. So eating on a regular basis and eating healthy are 2 completely different things. So what are you putting into your body? I've recently, in the last 2 years, had an issue with gout. Gout is a form of arthritis that is triggered by stress and your eating. Unlike the other arthritis where it's just something that happens to you and over time it just progressively gets worse, with gout, you can actually control it with what you're eating. But this is a long list of things that are triggers for gout. It doesn't mean you can't eat them, but it's an acid called purine acid that's in most of them. And if once it builds up in your system, it causes a mucus-like I guess a mucus-like thing. Well, mucus forms around your joints. Often you hear about people having it in their toe, but it can happen in other joints in your body. For me, it showed up in my left toe. And it's extremely painful at times, and it can last, like for me, it's been lasting, this last time I had it for the last like 3 weeks, and it progressively gets better, but if you don't change your diet, it will keep lingering on. Like the pain and the swelling will continue going if you don't take care of it. So eating and eating what's healthy is two different things. So I've had to fast a lot because you have to get out of your system whatever it was that caused you to have the flare up. So knowing the difference between eating regularly and eating healthy. Exercise, of course, and sometimes for certain people it means certain things. Like I'm not a gym person, but I'm learning to at least try it, and then put myself on like a schedule. I'm not trying to go every day. I'm not trying to spend 5 or 6 hours there, but I started with maybe 45 minutes every other day, starting on Mondays, and it's something that helps me. I walk a lot more now, so it's definitely something that I'm looking to make an occasional thing, even if I'm not frequently doing it. The next one was getting regular medical care for prevention. And this was something that I was horrible at. I remember having really good insurance all my life until I became a full-time artist, and I don't remember going to the doctors on a regular basis for checkups, other than vision. Vision was the only thing, and then now I'm going to the doctors, the vision doctor, the dentist, my primary care physician, and it's just about doing. If you do it regularly, they can catch things, and you're not there all the time. You're just going on every 6 months. For me, for my glasses, I have to go every year. For the dentist, it's every 6 months. The primary care can be every 6 months to 12 months, depending on if you have any health issues. The next one was, and they go together, get medical care when needed. Don't just go like that one. I didn't really agree with being on the list because you got to really be on a routine with it and don't just wait until something happens, because normally when something happens, you're already in too deep and it normally takes time to get back out of that hole. The next one is take time off when sick. And a lot of us, because money has gotten so tight lately, and a lot of people are living off of themselves. It's not really a lot of big families anymore, but we have to really take time for ourselves. That job will be there. One of the harshest things that I had to realize was, if you quit a job or get fired, they just go replace you. So if you're sick, take your time. Most jobs, it just requires documentation. But if you take care of yourself throughout the year, nobody can fire you for being sick. It happens, but that's because you're not really doing the things that you are supposed to be doing. And then you have to take out months and weeks at a time. And businesses go on, and they'll go on with or without you. So take care of yourself now. Take the time that you need, regardless. But I know it can often be a financial strain when doing so. So I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just saying take the time that you need. Get massages or do self-massages. This one I'm a little weird about. I don't really like the touchy thing, but I've had one, and it's very relaxing. I would say do something, but find things that may equate to it. So for me, I'll like going to is a spa that I go to maybe like once a year, and they have these water jets, and it gives you that same kind of feeling as a massage would. Dance, swim, like I said, dance, swim, walk, run, play sports, sing, or do some other physical activity that is fun. And all these are on a scale from 5 to 1, 5 being frequently, 1 being it never occurred to you that these things are a part of your self-care. The next one is take time to be sexual with yourself, with a partner. Wow. So sex is very important, I guess. So have more sex, I guess. The next one is get enough sleep. And this one is the one that has hit me the hardest lately, because I used to live off of maybe like 3 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep, maybe 5. And I thought that was, I could live like that. And as I got older, as I'm getting older, I'm realizing you need your rest. So I try to be in bed no later than 11 o'clock, in bed by 11 o'clock. And then it's starting to work. And now I'm starting to see the difference in how I wake up. It doesn't require too much hitting of the snooze button, or because I used to hit that sucker for like an hour straight, but now I can get up a little bit better than I used to. Wear clothes that you like, take vacations, take day trips or mini vacations, make time away from telephones. And then there's a other. So these are physical things, like tangible things that you can do physically that can change how you feel. And help you with your self-care, and keeps your energy level full, keep your body moving in a certain way. Some psychological self-care things is make time for reflection. I try to at least once a day at some point, whether it be in between the classes that I teach or late at night before I go to bed. Sometimes early in the morning when you get up is a really good time to do reflections and to focus in on some of the things that you want to accomplish, make lists, try to check them out, refresh the list, so on and so forth, and really get into a routine of doing that. And it'll help you kind of assess where you are. And you'll realize sometimes you've done more on your list or more on your to-do list than you've actually given yourself credit for. But you have to take those times to kind of assess. I would say once a day. Some people, I know I have a friend that does it once a week. They spend like a couple hours kind of reflecting. But for me, it's been helpful to try to do it one time. I don't have a set time during the day, but I'll take that moment and spend maybe like 15, 20 minutes just going over a list of things that I want. And more on that psychological self-care is having your own personal psychotherapy, writing in a journal, reading literature that is unrelated to school or work or whatever you're doing. Do something at which you are not an expert in or in charge of. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. I think this is our last one. Yeah, this is our last break, and we'll wrap up, and then we'll do part 2 of this on Monday. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BigExposedRadio.com.
Something new, take a break from my broken heart. Talk with the hip, tell me you lie. I think we should go for another round. Baby, try not to say too much. Let your love come down. If you wanna rule, it's some rules you gotta live by. Live by. Stay true to your cool, make a move, don't wait on nobody else. And if it feels like a melody, sing a song, be my radio. And if you follow me back, I'll follow you back. Let the night unfold. I can tell that she can't get enough. Show enough, she couldn't keep the hands off from me. Oh no, she couldn't keep the hands off from me. Touching hands till we dance in the dark. Show enough, she couldn't keep the hands off from me. We do whatever you like. Keep the hands off from me. Oh no, she couldn't keep the hands off from me. So let's slide, you and me alone, to find who we really are. Crash into something new. I got that leg bringing up the car. Told me you kiss, told me you lie. I think we should go for another round. Baby, I wanna take you, but we gotta cruise so we can lose the crowd. If you wanna rule.
Listen to this flashback of Skyline Radio Show.
So where we at? Where we talk about the effects and what's going on in these schools, and what people don't understand. Just real briefly, I just want to talk a little bit about what people say bullying is or is not. So bullying comes in many forms. It's a teasing, it's the cyberbullying, it's the texting, it's the phone calls, it's the posting of pictures and people's personal information to pretty much cause them harm, to have them feel insecure. It's the sex assaults that people actually put out there. There are physical assaults, and there are mental assaults and emotional assaults. And what I like to remind individuals that any aggressive behavior towards anyone that is unwanted and unwarranted in an individual asks you to stop. Let's stop there. Stop.
And they should be respecting that.
Respecting that and
Right.
respecting
Mhm.
yourself, because when you're able to respect another person, you're able to respect yourself.
Right.
And the way that you're able to show that respect is that you know that you have a gift and you know you're uniquely made and that you matter, and then you also acknowledge that the next person beside you matters as well.
Right, right.
You know, and we lose that sometimes. Bullying is a behavior that underestimates the lives and legacy of you. I'm sure that when they was bullying me, and I'm sure when they was bullying you, they didn't understand who you're going to become later on. I didn't know.
Right, because I'm popping. I can't pop. All right, let me tell you, all those people who felt like they wanted to say whatever to me, look at me now. It's like, no, y'all don't understand, but I've been through some things, okay?
And you know what? No.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. It's me, your host Nate. I am back. Today's show was a shorter show. We only did an hour. We'll be back for a full show on Monday, so definitely tune in with us. We'll continue the conversation on self-care. I'm suggesting, and on Monday we're going to start journaling, and I'm actually going to bring in individual that is good at journaling. We're gonna try to bring her in on next Friday actually, and we'll talk about journaling. But I'll post this to our page, and you'll be able to go there. If you go to the Artist Exchange Radio Show page, I'll post this tonight on that page, along with the burnout meter and the 4 steps to wellness. Again, get your tickets now. You can go to www.arenaplayersinc.com for ticket information. The show opens up on February the 14th and it runs through March the 1st. There'll be 2 shows on Saturday, 1 show on Sunday, 1 show on Friday. Friday's at 8 p.m. Saturday we have a 3 p.m. show and a 5 p.m. show, and then we have a 4 p.m. Sunday show. So definitely stay tuned in for that. And I guess this, make sure you are good. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself first. That idea of if you are a parent with a child on an airplane and about to crash, you got to put your mask on first and get your air before you can start taking care of somebody else. We got to begin to take care of ourselves, and I'm really in that process of really, not necessarily, it's not about looking out for me, but looking out for me. And a time where everybody's so busy and everybody's doing things, we're not really calling each other and checking up and making sure we're doing the things that we need to do to stay healthy for each other. But you have to make sure you're doing the things and putting yourself on a schedule and making sure you are A1. We all have so much to live for and so much to do that we have to begin to practice self-care on a regular basis. And it's not just a massage, it's not just a vacation once or twice a year, it's an everyday thing. It's how you wake up to when you go to bed, what are you doing throughout the day, and it's really things to make your life easier. Staying on tag, staying on time. I'm a big list person. So creating those lists and really living by them is very much so what we have to begin to do in order to stay healthier, both mentally, physically, and spiritually, staying healthy, making sure we're taking the time not only for ourselves, but making time to spend time with our friends, some downtime. It can't always be about work. We've been sold this idea that we gotta work. We can sleep when we dead. Well, you're gonna be dead a lot sooner if you don't take the time a lot sooner to make things work according to how you need to get things done. So really take time for yourself. Vacation is a must, but you got to really take time for your family, for your friends. Really find ways to simplify your work environments and making sure you're not in a toxic work environment, and either think about changing jobs or changing careers or, getting the people around you in a better space. So we have finished the Artist Exchange for today. We'll be back next Monday, and we're here every Monday and Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. only on BigExposedRadio.com. Thank you all for tuning in. This has been another edition. Next up is the Cocktail Social.
White keys only have this bitch jumping.
Okay. If I sit around